that Parliament, I'm paraphrasing it, that Parliament exercises its legislative authority through bills introduced in Parliament, approved by Parliament, and assented to by the President. Nothing else. Parliament doesn't have any other tool. So when you bring a petition, when you bring a statement, when you bring a motion and all these things, there are no mechanisms of enforcing the resolutions of Parliament. At the very best, maybe there are just opportunities for parliamentarians to earn some sitting allowances, because we earn allowances when we sit on these things. But I don't see where they go, even where Parliament comes up with a very good resolution in a motion, where it comes out with a very good resolution in a petition, where it comes up with a very good resolution in a statement. They end up there. They go nowhere. There are no mechanisms for enforcing these resolutions. So I only see that the only thing that eventually that has teeth in Parliament is legislation. And even the Constitution states that legislative authority is exercised through bills approved by Parliament and assented to by the President. So bring that petition and let us subsume it into the bill that's on the floor of the Senate. There's room to amend it after what is going on. That then the issues you come can be carried forward and be made law. And once they are made law, then you can go to court and enforce them. You cannot go to court to enforce a resolution, a statement, a motion from Parliament. So let us know these things for what they are. At the very best, they help give parliamentarians information on what is happening. Like we had a petition on Drumville from Mukambani, Drumville Sacco, which was brought by Senator Kavindu. And that one has informed us to amend the Cooperative Societies Act, because we realized that there was thuggery in the cooperative movement, whereby they just had the ministry mandarins taking over these societies, dissolving them, stealing their properties and whatever. So we are now working out on something to put this thing in a proper perspective. So let us focus on legislation. Let us focus on the bills that come into Parliament. The way you focus on the finance bill, that is the only way Parliament acts and has force of law. But with petitions and others, at the very best, can inform the legislature of what things people are going through. But the findings, the resolutions, and the petitions of themselves go nowhere. So that petition, please, bring it to the Senate. You can send it to me. You can send it to the clerk. In fact, the petition moves faster when the petitioner directly moves it to the clerk than when the petitioner moves it through a member. So go and file your petition with the clerk of the Senate, and also come. Let us sit down with the Senator Gola and others in the health committee and get your ideas, and let the data you have, let it inform that process of the maternal health and early childhood budget bill that's on the floor of Parliament. Then we get a law that gives you and answers the issues you are raising in your petition. So
Senator, nataka
Through the
kukuuliza
host.
kitu. Can you hear me? Metro, one second.
Yeah, through the host.
Senator, can you hear me?
Through the host. Just 1 second. Through the host. This is Kenyan lady. Can I please piggyback on that question on maternal child health? Bwana Omtata, are you able to explain to the listeners why we do not have life-saving vaccines right now? I would like to just piggyback on the discussion on maternal child health. Thank you.
Okay,
yeah, the
thank
matter
you
has
very
come on
much.
the floor of the Senate, and I've claimed
Kenya
that
lady, can you go on mute,
the question of
please?
resource limitation, that they don't have the vaccines. That's what we were told when we called the various government officials. And they came out with things like procurement, things like allocation of resources, and stuff like that. But then it's just a question of having our priorities wrong. And it's not something that should be allowed to happen at all, because we are losing a whole generation, and the diseases that have already been wiped out in this country are going to re-emerge, because we are surrounded by countries where some of these diseases are prevalent. And when a child is not vaccinated within a certain period of time, then the opportunity is lost. So the resolution of Parliament was that the ministry moves with speed and acquires these products. Now, the problem we have with this country is one. Those who are old enough, like me, and maybe slightly younger, would remember that we lived at a time when government stores were branded. If it's Panadol from the government, it had the initials GK. If it is syrup, the bottle would be clearly marked Government of Kenya, not for sale. If it was gloves, the packets would be that, and the individual gloves would be marked with the initials GK, GK, GK. Why did the government stop branding its supplies, its stores? And you'll find that these things are supplied. And if you go to county governments, you go where you'll find that there is a data showing that these materials have been procured, they have been supplied from KEMSA, have been done what, but they are not in hospitals. Where are they? They are in private pharmacies. So even these vaccines, I've no doubt that they could have come in and then have gone into the private hands, and so the government's mechanisms are not there. I'm sure if you want to vaccinate your child, you go to a private hospital, you will get the vaccines there, but they are not in government
Absolutely.
hospitals.
Yes,
Why
Senate,
are
that
government
is the
stores no
problem.
longer branded? The
Senator,
vials, why are
unanisikia?
they not branded? So that you can know somebody is using a vial
Senge,
that is from the
mnanisikia?
government of Kenya.
Hannah interrupting him. He's talking.
Yes.
Continue, Senator. Sorry. The speaker was
Yeah. So
speaking.
we need to agitate that government stores must be branded. The school equipment scheme, you remember it? Why did it collapse? Why? What happened to it? Some of us never had to buy a book for the entire time we went to school, up to and including secondary school. To A level, we never bought a book. You could only buy a book if you wanted extra reading, like some of us used to do. But the books were always there. So this thing of saying that the market forces should take over this country is again a problem we have. We must restore the primacy of political action in the Kenyan space. The Kenyan state must not just be a tax collector. It must be an effective service provider. It must provide health. It must provide education. It must provide transport. And it must provide those essentials. So when the government just becomes a tax collector, and where it wants to provide a service, it creates a mechanism for its owners and the leeches to then steal from the public, like the subsidized fertilizer. Look at subsidy programs all over the world in serious countries. Go to India, where there are heavy subsidies. India, the subsidies work because they give out vouchers. You don't have to begin importing fertilizer as the government of Kenya and storing it. You simply intervene on the market by having a database of farmers, knowing the needs of each farmer, and giving the farmer vouchers equivalent to their needs. Then the farmer goes to the ordinary store. If the fertilizer is 7,000, and you have subsidizing it to go for 2,000, you have a voucher of the remaining 5,000. You give the person a voucher of 5,000, you take your fertilizer, you pay the 2,000. The shopkeeper will go to the government and redeem his voucher. He's paid the 5,000. That way you avoid the government having to import things, having to store things, having to do all these funny things that we have. The things are there. You come here and we mess up everything. It's like if I came to your house and I want to answer the call of nature, and I'm from the village, I'm used to traveling a kilometer to go to the toilet, and you tell me, no, just go to that room, help yourself. Then I help myself, and I come back, I say, wow, this is a miracle. Today I've been able to answer the call of nature within a house. Then when I go home, I want also to build a house that is self-contained. Then I go home, yes, and I build a self-contained house, but I choose to locate the toilet in the living room. What am I doing? It will not be functional. I've gotten the design completely wrong. So one of the big problems again we have in this country is a design problems. It's a design problem. We take noble ideas and fail them by designing the implementation in a wrong way. So they fail. We allow these interlopers, we allow these cartels and what have you. So on the question of vaccines, I think that's a question of that failure to brand government stores. Vaccines are bought and they disappear into private hands. The vaccines are available in the private sector. They are not available in the public sector. The private sector is a market sector making profit out of our misery and what have you. And very few of us can afford it. And so what happens? The majority of the people go without essential services. Article 26 on the right to life is meaningless if a child cannot be vaccinated at birth. It's a total violation of the rights of that child. The rights of children in the constitution are also violated. So it's a very, very painful area. And I think maybe that you raise it, maybe within this act that's being made, we may need to make it a criminal offense for a child, for a facility that provides maternity services not to have these vaccines. So that's how they answer that. If I can go to the next. And doing a bad job of it because they look at the law through the keyhole and not through, they don't go to the balcony and look at the law as a whole. So when a judge says that the elections are expensive, what does he have in mind? He has a paper election in mind. He doesn't have a digital election that may not even require mobilizing people to go to polling stations. He doesn't. He doesn't look at the fact that a recall can be done through platforms and the IBC needs to have a digital register. The biometrics they get should be biometrics that can be utilized effectively, not using the KIMS kit like a mouse to activate an idle computer for you to now begin doing what you want to do. The IBC should be able to give us a KIMS kit whereby voting is very easy and simple. You don't have to be spending billions of shillings on an election. So if that is done, if we can get the architecture in the election process correct, and we get a digital platform of election that's accurate, simple, verifiable, and whatever. If our elections are simple, why should they be expensive? So when the judge writes that the elections are expensive, has he taken time or she taken time to look at the whole constitution and see that what is the architecture of what kind of electoral system that the constitution requires? So our judges go far and try to make pronouncements, try to be managers, and they do that in extreme ignorance of the law. And they end up coming up with decisions that are just laughable. Like I've mentioned that in the first Raila petition, technology fails. Technology fails. Technology is based on the laws of physics. How does it fail? The fact is that technology can be compromised by three things. One, Court of Care pronounces that technology fails. That's arrant nonsense. So we need to get back to the situation whereby common sense as managers. Article 27, Clause 8. Article 8. Supreme Court up to when it was pronouncing it that there was a gender rule in the Constitution. You go to the question of balloting, and the Constitution does not provide for spoiled ballots. They become managers. They begin saying, okay, we have spoiled ballots. Do they count or don't they count? Arrant nonsense. The election should have collapsed on the fact of the judges realizing that the election did not meet the threshold. The election had spoiled ballots because the election was manual. The architecture and the Constitution is digital. You can't have a spoiled ballot when you vote digitally. Those are the issues. You have had the question of referenda. You're required to raise a million vote signatures. A million signatures being verified manually will take the DCI, I think, 10 years to verify. But if they're digital, they'll get a gadget, their gadget will do it in 5 seconds or 5 minutes. So the entire architecture of our constitution, even the public participation, if we had a digital voters register and whatever, people would be able to vote digitally on issues and have referendum almost on everything that we are legislating. So that is the problem that we have. The Katiba Institute case, the judges have reached themselves. They acted the
wanateseka. Ae.